Welcome to a podcast brought to you by the American Academy of Orthopaedic Manual Physical Therapists. Our academy is a national organization committed to excellence in orthopedic manual physical therapy practice, education, and research, and we're here to explore a wide range of topics with you through interviews with content experts.
Hello, my name is Stephen Shaffer, and I'm honored to bring to our audience a brief conversation with Dr. Chris Showalter. In this podcast extra, we're going to talk about recent activity within IFOMPT, of which our academy is, of course, a member organization. As we've discussed previously, the IFOMPT Executive Committee is moving forward to try and change the name of IFOMPT from the International Federation of Orthopaedic Manipulative Physical Therapists to the International Federation of Musculoskeletal Physical Therapists. Dr. Showalter is joining us today to talk about this proposed name change because he's the chairperson of the Accreditation Council on Orthopaedic Manual Physical Therapy Education. Let's get things started and see what Dr. Showalter has to say about this proposed name change. Dr. Showalter, welcome to the AMP podcast. How are you doing today?
Doing fantastic, Steve.
Well, that is great to hear, and it is also great to have you here as a guest today. So thank you for joining us. And let's just get right to the issue at hand. As the chairperson of the Accreditation Council on Orthopaedic Manual Physical Therapy Education, also called ACOMPTE, what's your stance on the proposed name change being put forth by IFOMPT?
Well, it's a good question, Steve. I'll separate my personal stance from my viewpoint regarding the potential ramifications for education and particularly fellowship-level education in orthopedic manual therapy in the USA. I have to take the audience through a little walk through the woods of abbreviations for a moment. Most of the listeners on this podcast are likely AOMPT members, American Academy of Orthopaedic Manual Physical Therapy. And manual physical therapy has been in our name since the start. AOMPT partnered up and assisted with the formation of the Foundation for Orthopaedic Manual Physical Therapy. And the foundation is responsible for charging my group, ACOMPTE, the Accreditation Council of Orthopaedic Manual Physical Therapy Education, to set the accreditation standards and to accredit appropriate programs in the United States that meet the ACOMPTE standards and also that meet the IFOMPT standards. Now, this is not the same across the board. There are fellowship programs which are not members of ACOMPTE, and therefore they're not required to meet the IFOMPT standards. The two areas that I see as problematic with respect to the potential name change at IFOMPT is that there are two areas within the standards of ACOMPTE which align and in many instances actually exceed the IFOMPT standards, which include one-on-one individual mentorship education with someone who's a fellow of the American Academy of Orthopaedic Manual Physical Therapy, or equivalent in IFOMPT terms. Now, IFOMPT don't specify that in their standards, but ACOMPTE has taken a higher ground and said, well, we feel that if you're learning orthopedic manual therapy in a fellowship, then your one-on-one critical mentorship components should be done by a fellow of the academy, someone who has the skill set. And my concern is that going down this road of musculoskeletal, that the standards over time at the IFOMPT level may well be watered down to the extent that, well, you don't need so much mentorship with someone who's fellowship trained. Maybe you don't need specific training in thrust manipulation. Maybe it's just good enough to have a different skill set there. Maybe it's just in the bucket of musculoskeletal. That's my first concern. And my second is in Dimension 9 of the IFOMPT educational standards, which requires demonstration of critical understanding and application of the process of research. So that's a dimension that requires the fellow in training, as we call the students in fellowship programs in the United States, that requires the fellow in training to do a robust component of some sort of something to do with research. My concern at the IFOMPT level is that if you water down the language regarding the skill set of orthopedic manipulative therapy, and it no longer contains manipulative, then you water down the essence of what IFOMPT was formed to do, and it has ramifications for ACOMPTE's standards by which we accredit US programs.
Perfect. Thank you for that informative answer. In addition to that, are there any other major points that you think should be made about this topic?
I'm concerned about a schism within IFOMPT itself under the new masthead of musculoskeletal, whereby we might have musculoskeletal trained experts in IFOMPT and manual therapy trained experts within IFOMPT. And the knock-on ramification of that is that in the current situation with IFOMPT, the 24 member nations of IFOMPT, member organizations, individual countries, who meet the standards of IFOMPT, are able to grant reciprocity to graduates from other countries. And if the IFOMPT standards do not maintain the standards for orthopedic manual therapy, that then presents a problem for the United States in terms of, particularly for AOMPT, looking at people who are applying for reciprocity because they graduated from a program in another country. But what if they graduated from a program in another country which is primarily musculoskeletal with not enough emphasis on the standards that we require at ACOMPTE, which are agreed to by AOMPT? What if they don't have enough training in orthopedic manual therapy, and more so their training is in general musculoskeletal? We may have to deny those individuals the reciprocity that they feel they deserve.
Well, Dr. Showalter, that is a great point. I'm really glad you just made that because it was something I hadn't even thought about. I would like to thank you for joining us today. We thank you for your expertise on this matter, and we look forward to seeing what happens in the future.
My pleasure. Thank you very much, Steve.
This has been a production of the American Academy of Orthopaedic Manual Physical Therapists. You can learn more about the Academy by visiting our website at AAOMPT.org. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram by searching for our acronym, AAOMPT. The views and opinions expressed on the AOMPT podcast are those of the interviewers and interviewees and do not represent the official position of AOMPT. The information presented should not be used as personal healthcare or clinical practice advice. If you need to find an expert orthopedic physical therapist near you, then check out the Find a Fellow feature under the Public Resources tab at www.aaompt.org, which you can find in the show notes.